I'm Kenesha Dees. Welcome to a refreshed look for the Fox 54 Weekend Review, a 30-minute compilation of local news headlines here on Fox 54 Plus. Here's some of what you'll see, including 24 hours in the cold, a man's effort to show the public what those without homes have to endure during the frigid winter months. Roadblocks to recovery. Not one, but two proposed recovery centers announced last week are now off the table after facing pushback from neighbors and permit hurdles. And you'll see a heartwarming reunion between a local law enforcement officer and the dog he helped rescue recently. These and many more stories coming your way. This week's top story is the release of the long-awaited third-party review of the Decatur Police Department's operational procedures and culture. Does the 43-page document affirm many of the things critics of the department and Chief Todd Pinion have complained about in the years since the death of resident Steve Perkins? And where does the city go from here? Let's take a look at our coverage. The report reveals several communication failures that have negatively impacted the community and the department, some of which stem from Chief Todd Pinion's reluctance to speak publicly. The software that manages workflow and incident documents is not being utilized properly, causing files to be lost and, in some cases, investigations not being conducted properly. There were times when officers improperly used the justification of, quote, giving a lawful order as the reason for an obstruction charge, while the lawful order itself is questionable. And while there were times when officers have treated citizens with compassion and empathy, there are also instances in which they've treated members of the community with little empathy, using an inflammatory tone. The department's Citizen Advisory Board, which is meant to improve communication and trust between the community and police, believe Chief Todd Pinion has used the board effectively. However, the board is appointed in a way that may, quote, have the unintended effect of having most, if not all, members with similar points of view.
Everyone, including Decatur officials, taking their time to go over this third-party review of the Decatur Police Department, but Police Chief Todd Pinion acknowledges mistakes have been made.
Mistakes have been made, and we will make mistakes in the future.
Chief Pinion also says they're human and not perfect. One area he touched on was how much the city has changed in the last few years in terms of crime levels. During the press conference, he highlights there were only just under 120 reported burglaries last year, compared to almost 1,000 in 2008. He clearly expressed his view on where the city stands in terms of safety.
The city of Decatur is a safe place to live. This city is safer under my administration than it has been at any time in the past 2 decades.
One item mentioned several times through the review was Pinion's lack of communication.
Chief Pinion also mentioned that he's not a public speaker. I'm sorry, you're chief. That's part of your job description. You're supposed to be informing the people about what's going on.
Nicholas Perkins is the brother of Steve Perkins, who was shot and killed by former Decatur police officer Mac Marquette.
Steve Perkins will always be known as the man who changed Decatur.
In terms of lack of communication, the review says, quote, this reluctance and ultimately avoidance to provide information to the public led to added mistrust of the Decatur Police Department.
From the day that Steve was deceased up until now, there hasn't been accurate communication.
And Pinion acknowledged the lack as well.
I think the guys understand that when I first started, there was a lot of communication, and like I said, I understand where I've lacked in some of that. But I know where I've lacked and where we've already working to do things much better.
Some recommendations for DPD include rebuilding trust between officers and citizens, training on what is versus what isn't a lawful command, and additional training on reviewing disorderly conduct charges.
We're going to look at these and continue to improve on those and implement. I think I said that in the statement. We're going to implement several of these recommendations.
But Perkins is calling for a change in leadership.
It seems that our current leadership has failed us completely. So I think the only way to rectify this situation is to remove it. Start fresh, start with something new.
After the meeting, I met with several members of the social justice group Standing in Power. They say they're not commenting on the review at this time as they're still reviewing the document, but they're planning to hold a press conference of their own, likely next Monday. From Decatur, Gabe Glassman, Fox 54 News.
The process to get a noise ordinance in place in Limestone County has hit a snag for residents, as officials say there isn't much to be done on a local level. Limestone County doesn't have specific rules for noise, but there are some general guidelines for noise-related activities. One resident says that she's been in communication with local leaders who told her that historically, getting an ordinance like this one has been done on a higher governmental level.
I have felt dismissed a lot, and it's been very frustrating because this is something that obviously currently directly affects our home, but this is something that I feel that if not addressed, it will continue to affect many, not just our county, but many other counties in the whole state of Alabama.
Yeah, she says she has made contact with owners of the quarry, Grayson, Carter and Son, but response has been minimal. Governor Kay Ivey sending her congratulations to President Trump, saying in part, quote, Alabama stands ready to support his mission to foster a stronger than ever America. I am confident our best days are ahead. Alabama Congressman Robert Adderholt hosting 150 people in his Washington office for an inauguration watch party earlier today. The congressman organizing the indoor viewing for Alabama leaders who could not attend the inauguration after it was moved indoors. Leaders from Fort Payne to Florence, Tuscaloosa to Coleman, all crowded in his office to watch the historic moment Donald Trump became America's 47th president.
The sun is out here in Washington, D.C., and I think it's indicative of just a new day in America with Donald Trump now as the commander-in-chief. And so we're just very excited about the executive orders that he'll be signing, and of course, obviously, as we start moving on legislation.
What you just heard was the Albertville High School Aggie Band. Glad you could join us. I'm Kenesha Dees. The Aggie Band performed on some of the biggest stages, including multiple Macy's Thanksgiving Day and Rose Bowl parades. Now, 350 students will be traveling to Washington, D.C. to perform in the Inauguration Day parade. Our Gabe Glassman talked with some of the members before they head out to represent the Yellowhammer State on a national stage Monday.
2 trucks, 8 buses, 350 Albertville Aggie Band members headed to the nation's capital to perform in the Inauguration Day Parade.
We're honored to be invited to be a part of this, to represent our state.
It's the first time the Albertville High School Aggie Band will take part in the celebrations.
I was over the top excited because of, first of all the places we're going to get to see, and just like the amazing opportunity to get to march in such a big and impressive parade.
The Aggies found out about earning the honor only a few weeks ago during winter break.
I was actually prepping for my cruise trip that weekend.
Everything was condensed, quicker turnaround, over a Christmas break holiday. That made it the most challenging.
Now, shirts are being folded, banners are being screwed together, and after only 6 rehearsals, these Aggies are fine-tuning their parade performance.
There's not much time to do stuff, but we are getting it done.
It was a little stressful, but we have very, very, very good band directors and very talented band directors, and so they made sure to prepare us for the trip and for the parade.
Color Guard Captain Desi Williams says she's never been to Washington, D.C., but is excited to share the moment with her band family.
I'm getting to travel somewhere that I've never been to with people that I love hanging out with and get to hang out with every day.
First chair trombone Caleb Blakeney says it's a true honor to be selected to represent the Stars and Stripes.
To do something this big with people that are from other states around this wonderful country, it's just really great.
And Director of Bands Taylor Cash says he's excited to have this opportunity for him and his students.
We're one of 5 in the entire country, high schools that have been invited to be in this parade. So anytime you're asked to be a part of anything, it's an honor, but especially when you're talking at the national level for something like a presidential inauguration.
In Albertville, Gabe Glassman, FOX54 News.
This just in, we've learned from Albertville City Schools that Albertville High School Aggie Band will not be performing at the inauguration. They shared it on a Facebook post. Once again, Albert City Schools confirmed that the Albertville High School Aggie Band will not be performing at the inauguration in Washington, D.C. We've also learned that the band is actively searching for venues to perform. Many medical centers in the Shoals sounding the alarm on Rocephin injections. Rocephin is used to treat many kinds of bacterial infections. Sheffield's Tennessee River Urgent Care says there's been reports of these injections causing a severe allergic reaction and/or even death recently in North Alabama. Many centers like North Alabama Medical and Quad City Pediatrics will no longer administer this medicine due to the severe adverse reactions. The Alabama Department of Public Health is currently investigating these reports.
This comes after reports of adverse effects similar to those with anaphylactic reaction, including hives, itchy skin, low blood pressure, and low levels of oxygen in the body, which have been successfully treated with measures for anaphylaxis. The Alabama Department of Public Health is currently investigating 11 cases that have occurred in the last few months. In a statement, ADPH says, quote, while no causal links between ceftriaxone and these reactions have been established at this time, ADPH will continue to act to promote and protect the health of citizens of Alabama by investigating, responding, and updating information accordingly. Here locally, centers like Quad City Pediatrics share while their inventory isn't part of the affected batch, they are placing a hold on the injection, saying in part, quote, we have checked our stock and it appears that we do not have the affected lot numbers or the same manufacturers as the Rocephin currently in question. However, until ADPH fully investigates the situation, we will be holding all Rocephin injections until further notice. ADPH shares, while this investigation is ongoing, it's important to keep in mind that, as with any injectable antibiotic, allergic reactions can occur, and measures should be taken to monitor and respond appropriately to such reactions. In Huntsville, Ken McCoy, Fox 54 News.
ADPH also says no causal link has been found in those 11 cases. We'll continue to keep you updated as we learn more. A building in South Huntsville has been the subject of controversy. One organization is looking to rezone a former nursing home as a treatment center for people who suffer from addiction. But neighbors and city leaders have pushed back. Residents cited safety as a primary concern. Others say it could impact property values in their neighborhood. We spoke to Bradford Health Services and the building's current owner before the zoning meeting today. Our Gabe Glassman with a look at what the future of this building may look like.
Where you begin to, after you've completed your stabilization and detox period, and you've been in treatment for a little bit, you come here and are more mature in your recovery.
Brett Young is the CEO of the Reprieve program for Bradford Health Services. The program allows for those who have graduated from Bradford treatment centers to get back on their feet, helping them return to their normal lives.
What programming looks like is, if you call it that, is community service. But also, these guys will get set up with people that help them with job interviews and resume building and that type of stuff.
William Dunlap is the current owner of the building and also the operator of the retreat center currently occupying it. He told us the retreat has never gotten traction and views what could be coming as a great replacement.
For us, it would be best. I see this as a ministry, and I've been talking with Bradford for several months. And I understand their program completely, and I see it as a ministry to the people that are here.
Dunlap says residents have no reason to be concerned and says it will be business as normal.
I really just see no reason for concern at all. These residents are here for counseling type therapy, and some will stay here just like our organization, our group does, with groups that come here and book this building. They actually stay in the building. They're able to eat, sleep, and do their activities here.
When asked what Bradford's plan is if the zoning board rejects the changes, Young had a simple answer.
We'll never give up on trying to find different resources and avenues for treating the residents of the state of Alabama. So if something happens here, we will continue to look for other avenues, other opportunities. Our goal is not to disrupt communities.
Young also spoke of the success the Reprieve has seen in Tuscaloosa and was excited to try and bring the success to the Rocket City. From South Huntsville, Gabe Glassman, Fox 54 News.
And we've just learned moments ago the Huntsville City Council Board has denied the proposal for the new recovery. Again, denied the proposal for the new recovery center due to a lack of motion. We'll keep you updated as we continue to follow this story. A nonprofit group that helps local men recover from addiction will not move into a Huntsville Hills property this week. Life or Death Recovery Services tells Fox 54 that it has reconsidered its plans for a third residential treatment center. The location of that facility prompted concern from some in the South Huntsville neighborhood. City officials pointed to zoning and permitting issues that appeared likely to delay or derail the opening of the treatment center. LDRS President Ryan Adams said the group understands the concerns that were shared by members of the community. In part, quote, "At this time, in consideration of the considerable opposition of those who live in Huntsville Hills, we have decided to not move forward with expansion of our sober living home. We are committed to being a positive presence and look forward to continuing to build trust and collaboration with the city of Huntsville." The statement also noticed that LDRS takes steps to screen its residents and take security and safety steps that include the use of 2 full-time employees to monitor operations. The group is certified by the Alabama Alliance for Recovery Residences and runs 2 homes elsewhere in the city and is currently looking to expand. 50,000. It's the average number of cars Redstone Security handles daily on the Arsenal. Redstone says as those numbers continue to grow, so does the wait time getting through those gates. Our Ken McCoy has more on how extra staffing could be the solution.
A line of flashing red lights. That's the view many see getting on Redstone Arsenal daily, and new mandates and precautionary measures are adding to that wait.
As you know, everybody's coming back off of telework right now, so we're back up to pre-COVID entrances. We have different things in place, different systems in place, but with every good system that we have, sometimes those systems do go down, and we have to go back to hand scanning every single person that comes on the installation.
Jonathan Arcand, Redstone's chief of guards, shares staffing has played part of the role.
I got here a year ago and took over as a chief of guards, and at that time we were about 60% strength. And we had to, of course, close Gate 10 temporarily until we could get enough personnel on board.
Within the past year, Redstone has hired more guards to help make getting through the gates a little smoother. But there is a process involved.
We've hired 36 new guards. So with those 36 guards that we have, there's a training program that goes on. They have a multitude of things that they have to do to become certified.
However, even with an increase in staff, there may still be congestion.
We're kind of limited to the way the layout of each of the gates are. We are looking at ways to either expand or add lanes to certain gates, but that is something that will take many years to accomplish.
Arcand shares the best way to help alleviate congestion is being prepared.
It only takes 1 or 2 people to have to get out of their vehicle and go search for it. That will slow the whole process down. And if you have that happen 2 or 3 times in an hour, it will back up traffic substantially. So we just ask that anybody entering the Redstone Arsenal has all their documents and stuff ready to go.
Arcand is also asking the public to be patient while the new guards get adjusted to their roles. In Huntsville, Kim McCoy, Fox 54 News.
Now, Fox 54 Top Teacher, sponsored by Calhoun Community College.
Top teachers often get nominated by parents and peers, but this next one we're about to meet was nominated by one of her pupils. Not only is she a top teacher, but according to the student, she's the best one. We'll meet the student and Nancy Gaddis from Buckhorn Middle School in Newmarket. In Nancy Gaddis's class,
I'm sure y'all understood direct democracy.
She'll take you around the world and back.
I really love history. I'm extremely passionate about it.
She's from Scottsboro and says she's taught for 12 years. Gaddis has spent 3 of them here at Buckhorn Middle School.
I really like working with kids.
Gaddis is excited about their growth.
It's a pleasure to see where they start at the beginning of the year, and then when they leave you, you see how much that they've grown.
One of her students, Kate Brandon, says Gaddis is the best because
she always encourages us to do our best, and when we need help with things, she's just so ready and willing to help us with anything that we need help with.
Brandon says Gaddis makes learning fun too.
When we were learning about the Great Wall of China, she was telling us a lot about all of the guards and everything like that and the trade routes, and it just made me want to learn more about all of that stuff.
It's lessons like these that Brandon likes, and right now, Gaddis says her students are learning about Greece.
So we've talked a lot about democracy and whatnot lately. It's cool to see them get into it and get involved and see, you know, the roots of democracy.
Her principal, Justina Wills, says her impact is far.
Mrs. Gaddis is always positive in her interactions with students and with adults. She's always willing to give a helping hand.
Gaddis hopes what they learn is more than a lesson in school.
I think it's really important for the kids to have a better understanding of the past so that they can understand why things are the way they are. You make a difference in their lives, so it's very rewarding.
Very rewarding, and congratulations, Nancy. Full interviews are on Fox 54 Plus, and be sure to nominate a deserving teacher at fox54.com. We know we're expecting another wave of winter weather hitting the Tennessee Valley. Some people are searching for a place to get some warmth. The city of Huntsville partnered with a handful of locations to serve as warming centers. It was only a couple weeks ago when we were talking about snow covering the Tennessee Valley. Our Gabe Glassman stopped at one of the warming centers in the area to see what's different for them this time around.
With the bitter cold temperatures, we thought now is the perfect time to expand our services and act as a warming shelter.
The assembly line of setting cot after cot started Monday afternoon for First Stop. Just a couple hours before, only around 20 adults and some pets would be offered a place to sleep away from the bitter cold.
This is our first initiative to provide shelter during these rigid cold temperatures to make sure that they are out of the cold and into a warm place of shelter.
They've been used as a warming center before, but this time around brings something new.
We've never done overnight warming. We've always been just a day center and warming during the day.
And the decision comes after just more than a year in their new space.
Our last building was really a compound of trailers, and this is the nicest facility that we've ever had. We thought now was the perfect time. We have this great new building. Let's put it to use.
While only providing around 20 spaces for people, Executive Director Chad Rodriguez says it's a way to help alleviate some pressure from the other warming centers serving people in need.
It's a place for our clients to get out of the cold and come have a safe, warm place to be, because everybody has to be somewhere.
When the temperature drops low, it could cause other problems such as health conditions. So we want to provide adequate safety, safe space for them.
Volunteer and board member Tammy Fletcher says she's been helping with First Stop for several years and is proud to take part in this initiative.
Everybody is just one stop away from some kind of disaster. That doesn't mean that you are a bad person or anything. You just need a helping hand.
First Stop says they'll also be providing bathrooms, water, and snack packs for the people utilizing their center. In Huntsville, Gabe Glassman, Fox 54 News.
First Stop officials say they're in need of men's coats in sizes XL to 3XL. Donations can be delivered to their location in Huntsville. The Living Room also making room as a warming center in Huntsville tonight. Its doors are open for people who need a warm place to lay their head. Food and a shower for the next few days will be available. Living Room Director Taylor Reed elaborates on who this warming center is for.
Having to sleep outside in the homeless camps or under a bridge on the street, those who are sleeping in their vehicles, anybody without a home, without shelter, we're going to open this facility up for you. We're not going to make you have to have an ID or meet any requirements like that. We're going to be open to anyone and everyone, and even their pets are welcome. We just want their pet to stay on a leash, but we want to get you and your furry friends off the streets and somewhere safe.
The organization is helping people in need, but we're told the Living Room needs help to keep its doors open too.
We can maybe make it through next year, but after that we're going to need some support from supporters. Right now we're truly operating kind of off of reserves. We don't have any big company backers, any big church backers or major donors, and so we're really looking to get the word out about what we're doing. Anybody that wants to partner, we offer our space to others to come and serve, and so we'd love to have you come and join us, use our facility, but we also need supporters so that this facility is available to all those who need it.
How would you like to sit out on a park bench for 24 hours? It's not fun, especially when the temperatures are dipping into 20s and the teens. But one local CEO is doing just that. Our Caleb Aguayo went out to show us what he's doing to remind everyone of the struggles homeless people face when it gets cold outside.
A park bench, a burn barrel, and some warm clothes. That's it for the Downtown Rescue Mission CEO, who's sitting out for a full 24-hour day to field questions from the community about the homelessness in Huntsville. I'm here at the Downtown Rescue Mission with Keith Overholt, who's been sitting out here all day and is going to be sitting out for the next 23 or so hours. So, Mr. Overholt, why are you out here in this cold today?
So this is our bench event, and today what we're doing is bringing awareness to homelessness and addiction and mental illness. And there's about 15 other rescue missions to 20 rescue missions across the country that are doing the same thing today, trying to bring awareness so that people understand really what's going on and let them know community-wide what's happening and then nationwide what's happening with homelessness and those other issues.
Overholt says it's a real problem, especially as the temperatures drop. Across the nation, he says there are about 750,000 people without a home. In the Downtown Rescue Mission alone, sleeps about 400 people per night.
A lot of people think, well, it's just that drunk or that drug addict or, well, sometimes it's these things that happen in their lives that are devastating, that have taken them down this path, that they're led to an addiction because they're like, I had nowhere else to turn, and I turned to drugs now because I didn't want to think about those things anymore. And then that path continues to get worse and worse, and then they end up at a place like the Mission.
Overholt says the warming center doesn't just keep people comfortable. It's about helping them turn their life around, too. And Kemsley Wilton with the Downtown Rescue Mission says events like these really shine a spotlight on the people that make up the community, regardless of their past.
To be able to get perspectives from different people. You know, we live in this every day, and we want to hear what people think about what we're doing and what we can do better, what we already do well, and hopefully just raise awareness to people who may know of us but don't know really what we do and don't get to hear the stories that we get to see that impact us.
It's all about sharing stories, and Overholt is there to hear them all. He says he'll be turning everything he hears today into steps forward for the nonprofit. In Huntsville, I'm Caleb Aguayo, Fox 54 News.
Well, the unforgiving cold setting record-breaking demands on the Tennessee Valley's power supply. The TVA tells us it set a record this morning when it delivered more than 25,000 megawatts, the most in its 90-year history. Temperatures down near 10 degrees in much of its service area, and workers were closely monitoring systems. You can see a look there. TVA had been asking customers to throttle down on use, especially during the peak demand hours of 6 a.m. until 10 a.m. The request was withdrawn just before noon. In Huntsville, about 1,000 customers were off the grid for a time this morning, but no widespread outages were reported today. Today is NASA's Day of Remembrance, honoring the astronauts who died during space exploration. The Marshall Space Flight Center honored 17 American astronauts. Astronauts from the Apollo and Space Shuttle program were the focus of the ceremony. Both had deep roots at Redstone. Leaders reminding people about safety and pushing forward.
It is vital that we remember and implement the lessons of the past in every step of our preparations for the future. Now is the time to recommit ourselves to safety and excellence, honoring the sacrifices of those who came before us by striving to create a safer future for those who will follow.
Leadership also reminded employees that they should feel the need to speak up if something ever feels unsafe.
We support this parade every year. We think this is very important for a cause in our community. So we support this parade every year.
Today marked a day of service celebrating the life and legacy of the late civil rights leader, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Leaders in Huntsville celebrated 40 years of breaking bread and keeping his dream alive at the 40th annual Unity Breakfast. The breakfast held at the VBC this morning and hosted by the Delta Theta Lambda chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated in Huntsville. The fraternity, the same organization Dr. King was a member of. This year's speaker was actor, writer, and minister, Mr. Clifton Davis. Leaders share how far we've come as a community.
We've come so far, actually, in the community, as a community, and, we have some other challenges going forward, but together, we're all going to meet those challenges.
I came out here representing my fraternity to help support the members of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity and their day of celebration of Martin Luther King Day, a day of service. I always appreciate celebrating this event and getting the opportunity to reach back out to others in my community.
Proceeds from the Unity Breakfast go towards scholarships, mentorship, tutoring, and leadership training for students. One of the most resonating impacts of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. is his I Have a Dream speech. Delivered at the March on Washington in 1963, a master orator, King delivered a call for social harmony. But did you know Huntsville played a small part in his preparations to deliver this moment in American history? 1 year, 5 months, and 4 days before I Have a Dream was delivered on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial, an earlier version of the speech was delivered at Oakwood University's Ashby Auditorium. King's speech wasn't the exact same verbatim, but his Oakwood speech closed with similar calls for letting freedom ring from all corners of our country, like the infamous one in D.C. As one attendee recalled, having MLK on campus was, quote, massive.
Campus was just on fire that Dr. Martin Luther King was coming to Oakwood. People didn't even know Oakwood. We were rather a small, insignificant, church-supported college, but to have that kind of notoriety was big, and as a student, we were just pumped. It was fantastic.
King's most famous delivery of the speech was a breakthrough moment in the civil rights movement. It garnered the attention of a nation. Back here in Huntsville, McDonald says that was immediately felt after the ultimate I Have a Dream speech.
Many of the themes that he presented at the mall in Washington, D.C. a year later, you can hear on that tape in 1962. So you might say that we were his proving ground. I think the vestiges of segregation vanished very quickly in Huntsville, much of it as a result of Dr. King's speech.
Look at the mugshots here on the monitor. Recent social media posts in various Huntsville-focused Facebook groups warning you that they are serial killers targeting this area. Well, it's false. I'll repeat, they are not serial killers. The Verified team and Huntsville Police want you to know how you can do some at-home detective work before sharing clickbait posts like these. HPD and the Verified team have noticed at least 3 separate posts over the past week in various Huntsville Facebook groups with variations on this theme. The posts claim a suspect or pair of suspects go into neighborhoods, knocking on people's doors, claiming to be homeless. Each post claims the suspect viciously attacked a single mother in her 30s. And the post also claimed the suspect stole a car from a woman in her 80s. In each post, the name of the victims vary, but that narrative remains the same. Strangers in Huntsville neighborhoods knocking on doors, claiming to be homeless, and attacking their victims. Huntsville police say posts like these are designed solely to spread fear and disinformation. So what can you do if you see a post like this? HPD says a good red flag is to see if comments are disabled on the post. If they are, this is a good indication that the account doesn't want people to debunk the claim and keep the scam going. Our Verified team uses free to access reverse image search engines like TinEye and Google Images. It's to confirm photos that come into our newsroom. So we did that with each of the mugshots we showed you earlier. In this case, this photo connected us to a Facebook page of the Yakima County, Washington Sheriff's Department, who arrested this man in September for the murder of his girlfriend. In the case of the other photos, they were also connected to arrests for various crimes in other parts of the country. None of them are considered serial killers, and none of them have any connection to crimes under investigation in Huntsville. The Verified team is dedicated to debunking misinformation and giving you the tools for you to make informed choices in the media you consume. If you have something you'd like verified, email us at news@fox54.com. You can also text your question to 202-410-8808 and visit verifythis.com to sign up for newsletters and see more Verify reports. And check this out, a Madison County deputy honored this afternoon for going above the line of duty a few weeks ago. Officials say Deputy Milton Bice responded to a report of stranded animals at a camper in New Market. When Bice arrived, he found several dogs in distress, including this young pit bull. Bice had to use a crowbar to get into the trailer where he found the abandoned dog, now named after the deputy who saved him. Our Gabe Glassman now brings us to the heartfelt reunion of Deputy Bice and one of the dogs he saved.
And this is Bice.
This was the moment Deputy Milton Bice was reunited with Bice just a few weeks after the pit bull was found in an abandoned trailer.
I was just happy the dog was moving, to be honest. The shape he was in, he looked rough.
Bice was in a small crate inside a camper, locked in.
And he was found in more than just poor conditions.
I wasn't confident he was going to make it through the night.
He was in a cage with no ability to go outside to go to the bathroom, so he was, pretty smelly. His paws and his tail were stained, and we had to give him a lot of baths, a lot of love.
After that shower of love, this is how Bice is looking now.
It's only been about 3 weeks, and Bice is really fattening up very quickly, which is a good sign.
Save the Animals Huntsville chairwoman Kelly Taylor praises Deputy Bice's work to save this dog.
I think he just opened his heart and his mind to become determined to save this animal.
Foster mother Andrea Russell is looking to get Bice ready for adoption.
He would be a great addition to anyone's family.
Deputy Bice says he felt an immediate impact was made on the pit bull's life.
Even though the rough shape he looked, he was still, able to respond and kind of look happy to me anyway.
But he says it's disturbing to see animals in those situations in the first place.
The fact that someone was able to leave a dog that you assumed they cared for at some point.
This situation is leaving Taylor with confidence that calls like these will be taken with similar compassion in the future.
It gives us the confidence to know that when there's a problem, we can reach out to them and they will react.
Deputy Bice was presented with a plaque and a box full of dog toys for his own 2 dogs. In Madison County, Gabe Glassman, FOX54 News.
Save the Animals Huntsville says 4 other dogs and 10 cats were also found outside the camper. The 4 dogs are currently with Huntsville Animal Services, and the 10 cats are in foster care waiting to be adopted. For more information on how to adopt these animals, you can visit our website.
Welcome back, everyone. Tonight, Huntsville City Schools approving the hire of Sammy Coates to lead the charge at Columbia High School. Coates was a star wide receiver at Auburn in the early 2010s, and he helped the Tigers win an SEC championship and earn a spot in the BCS national title game. After a stint in the NFL, he coached at Virginia Wise and Ohio Northern University. The former Auburn Tiger has the biggest task of all when it comes to head coaching because Columbia is on a 91-game losing streak.
Alabama A&M has completed a year-long project. It'll give students and faculty something fun to do in their spare time. A ribbon cutting was held this morning for Bulldog Lanes, a multi-lane bowling alley located inside the Student Health and Wellness Center. School leaders say the space gives students a chance to unwind and have some competitive fun.
We shut it down for a year in order to bring it back better, bring it back online better than ever before. As our campus grows, we're larger than we've ever been before, but we also want to expand our facilities and our activities for our students to ensure that they're engaged but also supported.
The space will also give the Bulldogs bowling team an opportunity to host more SWAC events.
Get out the butter and a good film, because today is National Popcorn Day. Here in America, we love our popcorn. In fact, the U.S. is the world's biggest consumer of it, eating more than 17 billion quarts of popcorn each year. And although we associate popcorn with the movies, early movie theaters didn't sell popcorn at first because they didn't want to deal with the mess. It wasn't until the mid-1940s that popcorn became a staple snack at the theaters. Now, I don't blame them for not selling it at first because there is a lot of crumbs and whatever and whatnot you got to take care of on the other end.
Do you know like the popcorn trick with the butter that you're supposed to do at the movie theater?
This sounds a little foreign to me. What?
So you put a straw in the bucket or bag, whatever, and then you let the butter go into the straw, and it gets the butter at the bottom of the popcorn. So you have butter all around, and
That's
learn
smart.
something new every day.
That's right. And that's why you watch us here on Fox 54 News.
That's rather interesting from Emily. I've never heard of such a thing. I might have to try it the next time I go to a movie theater. And on that tasty note, we end this edition of the Week in Review. Remember the Fox 54 mobile app for breaking news and weather 24 hours a day, and the Fox 54 Plus video streaming app on Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV for exclusive programming
just like this. Remember, there's more to 54 with our digital apps. For everyone here, I'm Kenesha Dees. See you next time.